Hi, welcome back to Mountain Jim Card Collectibles. And today I want to talk about Jackson Dart and this big Pluto insert that people have noticed that people are really dumping a lot of money into, hoping to purchase. And, for me, when I see these chases, of a player who was just, a rookie last year, and, all these sports card people dumping money into these players. I'm not surprised. Okay. So, um, the thing about Jackson Dart, though, and, all of these kind of rookie card chase gimmicks is I just see these massive prices coming out on, you know, card singles that, in my opinion, really just don't add up for the most part. And I'm not sure what the story is. If, Jackson Dart is kind of one of these players who generates a lot of man crushes, if you know what I mean. Because let's face it, he's not the biggest name out there, okay? I've talked about that in previous episodes of, you really have to have players that have the media behind them. Um, you also have to have players that are just really popular, have a lot of hype. And I know that Jackson Dart, recently hit the market for the most part. But when I look at him, do I believe he's going to be like the New York Giants next to Eli Manning? I really don't. Okay. I've had the Eli Manning cards in the past. I've sold them. Eli Manning is a big name, but we all know how everyone has amnesia in the sports card hobby. And they're always focused on the next guy. And why is that? Because I believe a lot of these investors think that, they can purchase these cards and they're going to retire off of them or turn around and sell them for a lot of cash. It's just easy work, okay? Easy investments, easy work. But I just don't believe it. So, the issue with Jackson Dart is, well, he's not a very highly ranked quarterback. So I'm always surprised to see people purchases sports cards for as much as they do, to be quite honest. And this is just an article from the Giants Wire. And like it says, New York Giants Jackson Dart ranked among NFL's worst quarterbacks. And this was published on July 3rd, 2026 and it was written by Jake Boyko. And he doesn't really, go after Jackson Dart very harsh on this article. But, there are things about Jackson Dart that I'm just not sure if he's going to really be that big of a player, to be quite honest. I mean, we see so many of these players, they come in, they're hot at first, and then before you know it, they're just more or less forgotten about for a lot of reasons. They get bumped around to different teams. You know, um, they end up second, third string, fourth string, whatever. Is that going to be Jackson Dart? Well, this is the year that he's really going to have to prove himself. Okay. Like right here, Dart was listed as the 25th best signal caller in the NFL entering 2026. And then we're going to look at these league-wide quarterback rankings that were put out by Dalton Wasserman and Max Chadwick. Okay. So let's go ahead and check those out. All right, so this is the quarterback rankings. It has all 32 starters ahead of the 2026 NFL season. Now think about that, all 32 starters. So where do you believe Jackson Dart is ranked on all of this, He gets a lot of love from the world of sports cards. I will say that, but the reality is a lot of the early sports card hobbyists that pursue Jaxson Dart cards, I feel like they might be too early in the race, if you know what I mean. Because he really hasn't proven himself, so I'm just going to scroll down this thing. This was posted on July 2nd, 2026. And let's just see who they have at the top of the list. They have Josh Allen at the top of the list, followed by Joe Burrow, ranked as number 2, followed by Lamar Jackson at 3, and Patrick Mahomes at 4. And that seems about right to me. I'm surprised Mahomes is at 4. To me, he should probably be higher. But let's just keep scrolling down here. We have Matthew Stafford at number 5, then followed by Jordan Love, Justin Herbert in number 7th place. I'll just keep scrolling down. You can kind of see these players. And honestly, some of these players I think are ranked a bit too high, like Trevor Lawrence. They have ranked it at number 11. I don't know, man. That might be giving him too much credit. I mean, I feel like he might get injured just looking at this. We have Jaden Daniels at 12. Now, Jalen Hurts is ranked at 15. I believe he should have been ranked higher, but that's just my opinion. We'll see what the Eagles do this year. CJ Stroud's ranked at 17. Yeah, I mean, people had a lot of high hopes for CJ Stroud. I just don't know, what he's going to end up doing. And so I'm still scrolling down here. We got Kyler Murray at 21, And then, ranked 25, Jaxson Dart. Ouch. So let's see what it says here. There were certainly plenty of positives to take away from Dart's rookie season. His 487 rushing yards ranked 3rd among all quarterbacks, while his 9 rushing touchdowns tied for 2nd. His 5.2% big-time throw rate also ranked 8th in the NFL. The biggest area for improvement for Dart is protecting himself. He often lowered his shoulder as a runner and missed 2 games with a concussion. A total of 39.1% of the pressures Dart faced were attributed to him, the highest rate in the league. Okay, so yeah, we'll see what Dart does. I mean, I don't see a lot of people talking about Dart. I'm not seeing the media just fall in love with him, and when it comes to sports cards and the biggest names, the most valued sports cards, it's always best to kind of break out of the sports card bubble and kind of talk to people that aren't as involved in, sports cards or even sports, and ask them, who or which athletes they have heard about that they're interested in, because more often than not, those are the best cards to chase if you're in the sports cards. For the most part, I know a lot of these sports card guys are always crossing their fingers that, these investments are going to blow up. But more often than not, it really can backfire on you, like right here we have ranked at 32, the very bottom of their list, is Deshaun Watson. Okay. So being ranked 25th in an entire list that goes down to 32 is not a good look, okay? So Jaxson Dart does have some good things going for him, but overall, I just feel like if he doesn't perform this season, he's going to take the route of a lot of quarterbacks where he may get traded off and become a second, third string quarterback. Before you know it, nobody's really, playing him. Hopefully that doesn't end up being Jaxson Dart, okay? And that takes me to these Pluto inserts. And people are going kind of crazy for these. I'm not sure why. I look at the insert. I'm not very impressed, but hey, that's just me. To me, the insert feels kind of generic. But this comes from Big Worms LLC. Tim, this is off of X. This was published on July 7th, 2026, like it says. I'll take regret for $400, please. And as we look at this picture, we can see it says this Jaxson Dart Giants Topps 2025 Chrome Cosmic Pluto Insert Rookie Card PPP-JD Pop 1. Okay, Pop 1. Does it say 1 of 1? I mean, I don't see that in the front, but it's kind of a tough card to look at. This appears to be from eBay, and there were 49 bids, and it's at $32,500. Okay. Why is this happening? I mean, with all the big name players out there, the big names, do these people expect Jaxson Dart to become a really big name player at this point in time? I think it's insane. It's insanity. And you begin to ask yourself, who are the people bidding on this? Why are they putting so much money into this card for this kind of low-ranked player? And once again, I just think it comes down to, a lot of sports card enthusiasts, investors really don't do their homework on these players, I've said it before. Did Jaxson Dart come into this league with a lot of, hype from the media, from the general public? Not really. He didn't come into the league like, say, Michael Jordan hit the NBA in '84, okay? And there's been a lot of other big names who have, come into the league, the same way, as Michael Jordan. And you kind of have to look at that and go, well, that's not Jaxson Dart. So what is this? Well, to me, Jaxson Dart is kind of a penny stock in a way that people are dumping a lot of money into, hoping that things work out for him. To me, it's just madness, okay? Just madness. All right, so let's see what people are saying. As of right now, Cam Ward has the highest NFL Pluto sale. Wemby has the highest sale of all Plutos. Okay, that's great. I mean, there's some big names there. Cam Ward, Wemby. $14,100 for Cam Ward, $39,100 for Wemby. But $32,500. That's still a lot of cash. Is it a 1 of 1? I'm a noob. And right there, no, that's just it. So it's not even a 1 of 1. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of 1 of 1s, but hey, if you're going to dump a lot of money into something, I would hope that it's a 1 of 1. Insane, unproven quarterback going for that kind of money. And then he writes back, happens every year. Yeah. I mean, if you're in a sports card, you just see this madness every year. It doesn't make sense to me. It feels kind of sus. But I just don't get it to an extent why people would gamble so much money on someone who's unproven, other than they believe he's going to go to the moon eventually. But how is he going to do it? Who do you wish you were in this situation, the buyer or seller? Well, obviously the seller. Unload the stuff, man. And I said it before, when I think of, kind of big names, Giants quarterbacks at this point in time, I tend to think of Eli Manning. Is Jaxson Dart going to live up to, Eli Manning's reputation in the NFL and the New York Giants? I don't believe he will. Like I said, if things start going downhill, there's a good chance he'll get traded off, and end up, second, third, fourth string. Why it say Pop 1? Yeah, that's another issue I have is why is it a Pop 1? Why does it say Pop 1 if it's not slabbed up? Let's take another look at this card. Yeah, it's just Pop 1. I just don't even think people are really thinking about this stuff when they look at it on eBay anymore. They just see Pop 1. Oh, it's a Pop 1. Come on. That could easily be a $5 card in a few years. Exactly. That's just it. I wouldn't be surprised to see that in my $1 thing at the LCS that I go to, you know? Once again, people are seeing it too. Huge Giants and Dart fan, and that is insanity. Laugh out loud. Yes, it is. Pop one as in the only one the seller has. Yeah. This whole thing is sus. The other person, pop one, card and pick isn't great. What am I missing here? Laugh out loud. Yeah. We're all missing it. And that's really what's standing out the most is someone putting pop one on there on an ungraded card. Value already at half because these case hits are trash. Yeah, I mean, I look at that card, I'm just like, meh. It doesn't stand out to me, you know. I mean, I've seen so many, cards from Panini that are inserts that could be the same thing, you know. That's just it, you know. It's not like a kaboom, you know. The $1.32 shipping gets me. Yeah, gotta ship it cheap. That's funny. That is some epic level shill bidding. Yes. And the thing about shill bidding is I don't want to point fingers, but like say the episode that I just went over, and I'm going over, these cards, and let's just say that, you have people purchasing autos for, about $200 to $300, okay? But then you see one that's like, $3,000-$4,000, and it's coming from a company that kind of has a bad reputation, okay? Is it just a bunch of shill bidding? Is it just a bunch of gamesmanship? That's just it. When I look at stuff like this, let's go back to the top here. The $1.32 shipping, we have $32,500, and we have 49 bids. I have a sense that what happens is they do this to try and raise the value on these cards, okay? And they do it because they know that they're not obligated to pay once the auction is over, okay? So, let's say that this auction ends at $32,500, okay? And the winner is the winner. Well, the winner could be a shill bidder, never, intending to pay for the card at all. Eventually, the buyer doesn't pay, and before you know it, this card is back on the market trying to be resold again. And that's the game, is to try and, game the comps on eBay. And I just think it's total BS after a while. But, once you do this for so long, and you're always looking at these comps on eBay, and you begin to understand, okay, this is the comp, and you see these outliers, these really just high priced cards, I always feel like that's a lot of what's going on, because you really have to wait for the stuff to go through, because even when, these auctions are over with on eBay and it comes up that this sold at this much, it doesn't mean that the buyer's going to pay for it at that price. So that's really one of the weird things about this. And it makes me wonder if maybe that's what this was all about, is to try and just really up the value on these cards. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not like this is a one of one. Most people aren't focused on Jaxson Dart at this moment in time. So a lot of this stuff, it doesn't make sense to the general public or even, the hobby itself. Eventually, though, I feel like more and more people are seeing through the veil, in these comments especially. Like right here. Oh no, this is worse than Mac Jones. I'm not saying Jaxson Dart's going to be another Mac Jones or Trey Lance, like right here. Hey, look, it's Trey Lance 2.0. But that's just it about this is it's really sus. It's really fishy, Um, and I feel like the hobby, to an extent, is getting exhausted with these games. And I wish that eBay would do a better job of policing this stuff, but by putting, um, maybe some stricter regulations to go along with these sales, so we're not seeing stuff like this as often as we are, and they could really go after stuff like Pop One, I mean, come on, why is this a Pop One? And people are asking that. Why does it say Pop One? I mean, should they be allowed to put that on this card? I don't know. Nothing against the buyer though, or the seller, because it's really not the buyer's or seller's fault for this, You have to begin to point your fingers at eBay after a while, and go, why are you allowing all the sus stuff to occur on your site? Why? Because maybe it benefits eBay down the road because some beleaguered buyer sees maybe a sale like this and goes, oh yeah, it's time to get in, and then they lose everything because of it. So very sus on this sale. The card really isn't that special. The player isn't that special. Everything about this card to me just kind of reeks of mediocrity. And others in the hobby see it as well. It's not just, the general public pointing their fingers. It's the hobbyists as well that are going, what's going on here? So anyway, how do you feel about this? Are you getting tired of all the rookie card gimmicks that are always being shilled out on the general public for the most part? Or are you just going along with the flow going, yeah, Jaxson Dart, and these kind of mediocre inserts from Topps, that's where to dump all your money at? I don't agree. I am looking elsewhere than Jaxson Dart. And I'm just saying that when you see stuff like this, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it should, There's something going on here. And, I went over a few of my theories on what could be happening with these type of sales on eBay. But if you have any theories, leave some comments. Anyway, I'd like to thank my subscribers. You're the only reason I keep doing these episodes. If you could give me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate that. And thanks for hanging out with me. I'd like to thank my viewers as well. I appreciate that you're watching my channel and you're watching my videos. If you could give me a thumbs up or give me, a subscription, hit the subscription button. That would be awesome. Anyway, hope you have a great day. I'm out of here. Bye.